Taylor calls me out of the blue. He's like, yo, bro, what's up? And I'm like, yo, T-Cab, what's up, man? And he's like, yo, bro, you know John McAfee? And I was like, nah. He's like, check your computer, dog. And I was like,
that sounds just like him.
What's up, bro? Check your computer, dog. And I said, what's up, man? He's like, this guy's going to call you. I don't know how Taylor had this connection through another team guy or something weird. But they were, you know, I said, how do you know this guy? He's like, some guy said that John McAfee wants the best SEAL out there to go guard him. Well, you know, I was by no means that, but I had just got out. It was all timing.
Yeah.
So I had just got out. Cav was like, yo, bro, here he is, you know. And so he gets me. So John McAfee calls me. He's like, you know who this is, boy? And I'm like, why are you calling me a boy, you know? But yeah. I was like, I think it's John McAfee. He said, that's right. He said, how much do you charge? Because he was down. He was brass tacks, this guy. And I said 500 to 1,000 a day. I just made that up, you know, 500 to 1,000 a day, depending on the threat. And he's like, that's ridiculous. I only pay my Green Berets $250 a day. And he like spit out his scotch. You could tell, man, he was pissed. And I don't know why this got into me, Mike, because I would have took this for a lot less. And I said, it's your life, sir. And when I said that, he said, damn. He said, you drive a hard bargain. He said, you got to fly to my house right now. I said, right now? From California? I was in Valley Center, California. He said, right now. I said, all right. So I flew to Lexington, Tennessee, started guarding John McAfee.
So you fly straight there, go right into guarding him. What was that like? Fucking crazy house, crazy lifestyle? What did you get into?
It was crazy. It was like walking into a Goodfellas casino, you know, with the mob and everything in the background. It was crazy, man. A lot of things, I don't even know what I can say, but I got there and his guards are like, they're carrying weapons, they're drinking alcohol. You know, in the SEALs, they're drinking alcohol, like, well, check this out. I'm like, oh my God, man, this is terrible, right?
Fucking and cowboys.
So straight up cowboys, and then they're doing crypto trading on these computer screens, like all these like little candlesticks and stuff that I don't know anything about at the time. And so I'm like, what's going on here? Crypto, what is that? This is when Bitcoin was real low. Right at the beginning of crypto, this happened, man. Right when it was getting, but only like super, it wasn't your old grannies on there trading. It was like super experienced traders and stuff that knew the game, okay? And so John McAfee, he comes out with a bunch of weapons on, literally. He had like a MAC-10 and a 1911, like on his bike, like, and you know, as a SEAL, it's kind of ridiculous to see that. You're like, what the heck is this guy
who's
doing?
This fucking
like, come on, man. Yeah, exactly. And but he comes out, he's smoking his cigarette backwards. He like comes out, and he's like, let's step outside and talk. And I was like, okay. He's got these big attack dogs. I don't know nothing about McAfee. He just came back from Belize, you know, being from murder for him being suspected of murder. He ran for the Belize government. Crazy story. I chose not to really dig into it just because I wanted to know him, who he was. And that's not the guy that I knew, though. Like, the guy that I experienced was kind of like a loving father to me, took me in under his wing. We went outside that first day, and I'll never forget it. He seemed kind of clumsy, but kind of scary, things about him, right? Super philosophical guy. He's very smart. He brought me outside, and he looked me dead in the eyes, and with these crystal clear blue eyes, and he has a very distinct voice, kind of like Cav too. But he's like, who's the most feared man on the battlefield, Jimmy? And I looked at him and I said, I don't know. And when he looked at you, you just stared into his eyes, like locked eyes. And I said, I don't know. And he said, it's the oldest man on the battlefield. He said, do you understand that? And I just looked at him, and the way he said it to me, it kind of hypnotized me, because I was like, you know, I ain't going to ever mess with this guy. You know, and from now on, if he says aliens kidnapped him, I may not believe it, but damned if I do. You know, if he gets caught by aliens, they do something weird to him at night, I'm not going to get blamed for it. So from that point on, I just took everything he said as truth. Face value. I said, okay, prove me wrong. And as we went along, he put me through a lot of tests, and I started asking him. I said, you know, one day I said, hey, sir, if I gave you $200, would you put this in crypto for me? He said, what the hell are you talking about, son? He said, you better learn this yourself. I said, well, I don't know about it. Will you teach me? He started teaching me excellent teacher, started teaching me everything he could, and he knew that he could. about cryptocurrency, about business, about investing, about negotiations. And his negotiations weren't that hard. And I ran all of his negotiations for him because his negotiations were non-negotiable. So that made it very easy to negotiate his terms.
It was just my way or the highway or where we're walking.
These are the terms?
Yeah.
There's no answer.
Take it or leave it.
And when you do that, it's great because people are like, but here's, and you're like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, I got 2 minutes left. I said, it's deal or no deal. And they would be like, well, God, I guess deal. And some of them could never compute that. Yeah. Some of these guys, Russians and stuff, they'd be like, let's go party. Let's go do some cocaine. Let's go do that with these girls. And I'd be like, no, you just don't understand. It's a 100% deal here. You know, it's all in another. And so I loved how he worked business. And he taught me a lot, and ended up getting in the crypto game. Ended up doing a lot of trades, a lot of negotiations.
These negotiations with Russians and fucking who knows else who, for what? Like, because he's an antivirus guy, right? Like that's the McAfee antivirus thing, or the Norton, or what?
Yeah. So he created the antivirus. Told me he took it out of the sky like the Matrix and put it on a piece of paper. He probably created the virus, man, and then created the antivirus. Yeah. I don't know. The guy was a genius madman, right? But he was known for he was not known for a lot of things, but he did a lot of things. Like, he's one of the main proponents in creating the iMessaging. He was big with NASA. All the train systems that you know today, all the train track, extremely complex switching and all that. He was a major person in that until he was on a big acid-induced drug high and they kicked him out. But he worked all that, programming and stuff. And he was programming computers the size of houses, right? For NASA and Apollo mission. And so he was a brilliant guy, and he was going through all this stuff and pretty much taught me everything that he could during that time. And these Russian oligarchs, we would go to Ibiza, we would go all over Thailand, we traveled all over, partied with, the parties were endless. And of course, there were women and drugs and everything you can imagine in between. He didn't have much of a leash for that. He didn't have much of a tolerance for that. So he kept me on point for the most part. And I really looked up to him, you know.
What were the negotiations? Can you share any of like what you're negotiating? Were they business deals?
Yeah.
But like what kind of business?
So he would go as a keynote speaker. He'd get paid to be a keynote speaker, like $100,000, right? We would go on a cruise, or a blockchain technology cruise, or a crypto conference everywhere, Dallas, Texas, big ones, right? He would get paid to go there. I would go with him as his right-hand man. Well, one day, I was just his bodyguard, you know? And then one day he just said, hey, son, you're going to be my lead negotiator. Do you understand? From this point on. I said, sir, you got the wrong guy. Like, no. He said, just do what I tell you. And so it was kind of nerve-wracking at first, but when we'd go to these meetings, he would have 20, 30, 40 different teams with all kinds of different technologies, blockchain technology, this, applications, this, certain medical devices, medical apps, all these different, that were all in line with cryptocurrency coins, right? And a lot of over-the-top stuff, a lot of fake stuff. And my job was to just tell you his terms, negotiate the terms, tell these people, hey, it's 20%. Payment is done every 24 hours, not every week, not every 2 weeks. He wants cash, or he wants crypto, Ethereum sent to him every 24 hours. If you miss a payment, the deal's off, right? And these terms generally revolved around him marketing them, because he had about 1 million followers on Twitter at his height, and 75% of his following basically did exactly what he said, which is, think about the numbers there.
It's cult-like.
It's cult-like.
Yeah.
And so he didn't have to tell you to go invest in something.
I got you.
Like Jordan wears Nikes. He doesn't tell you he's getting paid. You just know he's getting paid.
Yeah.
Well, McAfee was in a similar boat where he wouldn't even tell you to invest in the coin. He just would say, hey, I chose this coin. You can choose that coin and leave it up to you. Well, of course, everybody's going to go with his coin, with his stuff.
Yeah.